Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about muscle imbalances, but before we get into that I just want to say, been away for a week, sorry for not posting anything, but we are back now and let's get on with it. So muscle imbalances, these are pretty common in a lot of different sports, and with a lot of lifters that are just starting out, a lot of people that are just getting into weight training, and a lot of people that are just starting to exercise, and it's very common. It's very common. It's very understandable because lots of people, they use their dominant side a lot more than they would their non-dominant side. So if you're right-handed, you're most likely going to have a muscle imbalance. So your right side of your body, if you're right-handed, right-footed, your right side is going to be stronger than your left side. But that's fine because it's understandable. If you were constantly using your right side, why would it not be stronger? So it's perfectly fine to have these muscle imbalances, but you've got to understand the main thing is to be able to spot them and then be able to take action toward improving them and fixing them and sorting them out. So this could be making sure that you're doing less barbell and dual bilateral exercises. So instead of doing a barbell bench press, you could start doing a dumbbell bench press. Instead of doing a barbell squat or something like that, you could do a single leg press. So you start adapting these movements so that you're only using one side at a time, but you use the same weight and use the same rep ranges so that each side is getting the same amount of stimulant, I should say. And this is what's going to help promote kind of similar growth between the different sides of your body, the different muscles on each side that have been mirrored. So this is what's going to help get rid of those muscle imbalances. So if you've got a stronger right bicep than your left bicep, let's say your right bicep is a lot stronger. So instead of just continue training normally, what you're going to want to do is maybe stop doing barbell curls and easy bar curls and that sort of thing, and start doing single arm dumbbell curls. Start doing everything dumbbell based. Aim for the same amount of reps for each arm. Do your left arm first to failure. So say I'm doing alternating dumbbell curls. I'll do however many reps I can do on my left. So I get 7 reps, and then I'll match that with my right. And you just do that each time, and you apply progressive overload until eventually you've worked your left side up so that it's in line progress-wise with your right side, and then you continue back on with progressive overload, and then you can start going back to bilateral movements instead of unilateral. So bilateral means both sides, so using both sides of your body at the same time. Unilateral is using one movement at the same time, using one side of your body at the time. So what you're going to want to do is start kind of changing your program. If you do have a lot of muscle imbalances, start changing your program to implement more kind of one-sided lifts. So more lifts, more movements, more exercises where you're using one side at a time. So by dumbbell curls, that's one. Dumbbell chest press. Dumbbells are very good for isolating the one side of the body. Single leg press. Single leg calf raises. Each one so that you're fully focusing on that side of the body, that muscle there on that side, and you're not kind of compensating for one side being weaker with the stronger side of the body. So you're adapting your training by implementing more unilateral movements. So it could be single-handed chest press, whatever it may be. Dumbbell rows instead of barbell rows. You can slowly adapt it and then pick and change your program depending on what works for you, what has worked. So you can figure out, okay, I don't need to do all of my movements unilaterally because I've gotten rid of this muscle imbalance now, but I still enjoy doing this movement because it feels better. So now I'm going to do this bilateral movement, and then these 2 unilateral movements. And then you're sorted. So you've got a bit of both. You're not having any more muscle imbalances because you're still doing those unilateral movements, but you're still being able to do those heavy compound movements with barbells where it's going to be more stable. So that's really what you should be focusing on when it comes to having muscle imbalances, is going to be just making sure that you can work toward leveling out all of the bits that are uneven and focusing on finding out what's wrong, finding the problem or the weaker muscle, and then working it to the same degree that you would work your stronger muscle, or bring down the work you do on your stronger muscle down to the level that you do on the weaker muscle. And that's all it is. Another thing that could go into hand in hand with muscle imbalances is muscular stability. So a lot of people, they'll focus a lot on machines. They'll use Smith machine, very restricting machines, and they won't bother with using free weights. And how I know that machines are very good. I use a lot of machines. I realise that they're very, very beneficial, and they've helped me grow a lot. I grow a lot of muscle, get a lot stronger, etc., etc. But you need to understand that you should be focusing more on your compound lifts, your heavy free weight movements, to be able to kind of help promote the other muscles that you can't see, to help promote their growth. So stabilizing muscles, things like rotator cuffs, things like all the muscles in your forearms, muscles that the muscles that are used for grip, your core muscles, and kind of your midsection, all the muscles that are in there that are used for balancing. So when you're doing barbell squats and you've got the weight on your back and you've got a lot of weight there, you need to brace properly. You need to learn how to brace. When you're doing dumbbell exercises, you need to be more stable because the weight can move around a lot more. It's one thing that's tied to your whole body. So instead of using very restricting fixed movement such as a machine pull down, like I think it's a hammer strength, like a pull down, they're quite restricting. It's good exercise, great exercise, but it's a lot more restricting than, say, a pull-up or a single arm dumbbell row. So if you pick and choose what works for you, but you're also working with free weights as well as machines, you've got to find the balance there, which is, okay, I'm doing my machines, I'm doing my free weights. My machines for isolation, my free weights for overall stimulation and kind of strength training. And then you're doing your unilateral exercises and bilateral exercises. So you're making sure that you're doing both movements that that are focused on putting the same amount of weight and stress on each side of the body, and then you're doing it so it's spread across both parts. And you've got to kind of focus it and change your training, find the best movements for you so you can do both. You can do the bilateral and the unilateral movements, and you can also do the machine and free weight exercises. So you're doing all of the best things that you can do that's going to help your body get stronger, become more stable. You're going to develop all the other things that are used in your training, so your grip strength, your stability muscles. You're going to feel a lot more functional day to day, and then you're also going to get rid of those muscle imbalances, which is going to help you become a better all-rounder. So you're going to be able to do other things that you would normally only be able to do with your right side. Now you can do them with your left side, or vice versa, depending on which side you're strongest. So pick and change what works for you, adapt your program based on what the problem is. So it could be a muscle imbalance, it could be you lack stability, and that's where you're going to get the most growth, by figuring out what the problem is and then picking something to add in or take away from your training, which is going to give you and provide to you the biggest return on investment for the time you spend doing it. So it could be a stability exercise, it could be an isolation exercise for that one side, whatever it may be. Just figure it out, find the exercise that works, find the exercise that works best for your body, your shape, your build, your frame, and then just abuse it. Abuse the repetitions, abuse the amount that you can do it, abuse the weight you can put on it, and just continually work a full range of motion. Make sure you're pushing yourself to absolute failure, and then that's when the growth is going to take place. That's when you're going to start getting better and better. That's when you're going to start seeing the good results that you want, because you found this new exercise that only takes you 5 minutes, but it's bringing you a massive return on investment. It's making you stronger in all your other lifts because you're working your stability. It's because you're getting rid of that muscle imbalance. You're working everything all at the same time. You're getting rid of all of these problems, and it's helping everything else just progress forward. So find and identify the problem within your training, then figure out what is the best thing you can do that's going to provide you the biggest return on investment for your time that you're going to spend doing it, your time and effort. So how much of a result am I going to get from doing this one exercise instead of this one? Which one's going to provide me with better results? And this may take time. This is going to take trial and error, figuring out what works for you, what doesn't work, your body, what works for kind of your anatomy best, but eventually you'll figure it out and it'll work.